beat all the major charges.
I might have to RCP tag. I might have to be the next one.
Did he?
This ain't. I ain't gonna lie to you.
They found him
beat
not
the case.
guilty on all
My boy
the
beat the
serious
case.
shit. He beat the bed.
My boy really beat the case.
That's fucking crazy.
No fucking way. He really beat the case.
Whoa.
Yo, if I was him, Jane Doe is getting tossed out of that $10,000 a month crib like Jazzy Jeff in Fresh Prince. Get that hole on out of here, man.
I said that man.
Go back to Fifth. Go back to Fifth.
He was a freak ball, but
go over there.
he ain't deserve life for the shit that he. For what they had going on, man, didn't deserve a life sentence.
Fifth, you gonna be tight. That nigga did not get on Twitter. Yo, Brian Steele. Brian Steele.
Is the goal.
My boy take no L's, man. Somebody said me happy for him is weird. What do you think I'm supposed to be? Sad? Nigga, I watched the trial and I covered it just like y'all. I think Cassie and them was over whooping. They were over whooping. Diddy was beating their ass, that's a fact. But the idea, and I told you exactly what I predicted was what happened. Guilty on prostitution. This is a prostitution charge. You spent millions of dollars for something that doesn't carry a mandatory minimum. There's no mandatory minimum on it. So you did all of that to give somebody a state charge? Damn near? Come on, bro. Come on, dog. You got the boy that beat a Rico. It's over. The man beat a Rico. It's over. He beat a Rico. It's over.
Boy, they finna be hot.
Only got found.
Boy, I know TMZ. I know they thought it ate.
Put on a very good case. Let's remember that there were no witnesses that the defense even chose to put on. They just said, you know what, you didn't make your case. The prosecution, I would think, if they were going to look back, I don't know, would they do something with Christina Coram? Maybe take that chance. Would they do something with this plethora of security guards that we know were within Sean's orbit that knew everything? Because we know Sean wasn't driving himself to places, Sean wasn't getting candles, and Sean wasn't picking up Astroglide. Are these the people that we should have heard from? Because certainly, being in the gallery, these are the people that I wanted to hear from. Would they have provided some glue to any of this? I think that that's something to take into consideration. Who were the people that we have heard all throughout this trial, but we didn't bring? Could they have made a difference?
I want to bring our Sierra Gillespie in right now, who's outside the courthouse. Sierra, what is the vibe there?
I mean, I'm telling you, Chris, this came out of nowhere. No one was expecting that after 1 hour worth of deliberations, we would have a verdict. So much so, the P. Diddy's family left the courthouse. They thought they were probably going to go get some brunch or something, and all of a sudden they're turned around. So I'm telling you, the instant that people were able to show up, I'm shocked by it. There's a major crowd outside of the courthouse. I mean, I have no idea where all of these people came from just to surround and hear all of this. And I mean, I think the vibe is that this is a pretty big win for P. Diddy. I mean, not guilty on count 1 of racketeering. Huge win. I mean, that could potentially throw the life sentence out the window. And it can definitely, you can definitely tell in the crowd here, people who are pro Diddy are definitely happy about it.
And I know we talked about when we signed off at the end of last hour, when Diddy's kids left, you saw his sons, his twin daughters, they got in that Sprinter van and they headed out after praying with their dad. And then he goes to wait out the jury deliberations. I know his mom and his sister were in the courtroom, but did you?
In the front of the courthouse, I actually have 2 different cameras, 2 different live shots from.
These women were coerced into doing the freak-offs, but rather the jurors had at least a reasonable doubt that they were volunteers.
Mitchell, so how long do we expect it to find out about the sentencing? And also you were saying that he actually might be released today.
So, obviously.
At the courthouse, Vegas odds even. Sean Combs will spend no time behind bars, and Sean Combs will spend life behind bars. Sean Combs looked like he was, quote, walking on air.
P. Diddy was walking on sunshine
Diddy
today.
beat it.
Twinkle Toes just did.
Diddy beat the case. That's crazy. It's finally live updates, man. That is crazy. That boy Diddy walking. He finna be moonwalking in Calabasas. He is finna. So y'all think he gonna try to get even with everybody?
Discuss a few matters with the lawyers.
That's
Then I will
crazy.
come back to meet with you
Diddy.
jurors. All rise to the jury.
How long
And the
y'all?
jurors
I wonder how
then
much time they
exit
think he gonna
the
get.
courtroom, and the judge says, I'll hear any application then about sentencing date. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, says he should be released. Combs Agnifilo says he is no longer charged with sex trafficking or racketeering. His plane has been chartered. It is in Maui. He does not have access to his plane. This is his first conviction, and it is a prostitution offense. He should be released. William Corman, criminal defense attorney. As someone in this line of work, how strong of an argument that is that Sean Combs should be released?
The problem is this: Combs has a significant amount of assets, and if Sean Combs chose not to come back to court to be sentenced, he would be able to do that. So again, correct, he has no criminal record. Correct, he's been found guilty only of the lowest hanging fruit, as we've been calling it. I think it's an argument that can be made. Obviously, the prosecution is going to argue against it vociferously. I'd be surprised if the judge went along with it, but candidly, I think we've all been a little surprised by what's happened in the past few hours. But again, I don't anticipate the judge will allow it.
Mark Agnifilo continuing on here saying his family is here and could sign a bond. He should be released today to go back and live at 2-Star Island, which is in Miami. Judge says, this is just coming up right now. I will hear from the government in a moment. Are you proposing he just walk outside now? And the defense says yes. Candace, there's going to be a lot of conversation about Sean Combs and his legacy. You can't unsee the 2016 video from the Intercontinental Hotel, that is for sure. But how does this verdict impact how people may view Sean Combs going forward?
You know, some people are going to view him as a hero. Some people are going to view him as a victim. They really will. Some people are going to say, what in the world? We were in there for 7 weeks and we heard all of this debauchery and all of these things that
he was a freak.
When you look at the cumulative effect of the evidence, I think he was guilty. So you're going to have people on both sides. But I think in terms of his legacy, personally, the legacy for him is
he didn't deserve
his music. That's going to survive and live. But I think
I believe they wouldn't have came with the RICO in the beginning. They would have had him.
And when RICO is used, there's going to be a lot of conversation and information exchange online.
They tried to cover that RICO.
About when do we?
They would have just straight came with the little state charge.
I think that's what the largest
conversation
has been about. Yes, there was astroturf. Yes, there was baby oil. But
they were hating on the boy.
What is RICO, and what does it mean? And is it being unfairly used by people?
That is crazy. It's crazy word. Look at it. They got the boy the diddler.
Like him, who happened to be rich and seems like someone who we could make a big headline out of if we're
diddler.
This is what the defense was saying in their closing argument.
Diddy found not guilty on RICO.
Prosecution of someone who
and not guilty on sex trafficking.
There's nobody here who's coming after Sean
They're gonna hit him with the time served.
Don't trust them.
And
I think
that's
going to be the lasting legacy of this case.
That's crazy.
And you think of the 2016 video once again, and it's the video of Sean Combs. He's in a towel.
I think they just went too hard, like they went too crazy.
Cassie Ventura, and grabs her and beats her.
He wasn't on trial for the beat.
Then, according to testimony from a security guard, he paid off $100,000 to get rid of what he thought was the only copy. And yet, in the end, they find not guilty of sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura. William, what about her testimony just didn't get the job done? Or maybe should I say, what is it about the defense's argument that did get the job done and got a not guilty verdict?
I'm going to assume that it was the defense counsel's argument that was saying, look, this is a complicated relationship. This is a relationship that was fraught with domestic violence. but Sean Combs hasn't been charged with domestic violence. Sean Combs has been charged with this grand scheme, this RICO enterprise, if you will. And there's a big difference between being involved in the RICO scheme and being, unfortunately, a serial abuser. And if we were on trial for him being a serial abuser, there's no argument to be made. We've all watched the video. We're going to watch it 100 times during the course of this trial. But you can't make the connection between him being a serial abuser to him running this giant criminal enterprise, including
And
the
then
sex
they only
trafficking.
had one
Because
person.
again, there was a huge amount of digital footprints where she was involved in it, and she was willing to go along with it, and she was amenable to it. And
Yo.
she indicated that she was into it and things along those lines. And those points obviously hit home with the jury.
That killed
And
them.
also not
That's
guilty on
crazy.
sex trafficking of the victim who went by the pseudonym Jane, who also, there were text messages that the defense used to argue that these were consensual relationships. There's been a lot of talk, Candace. I want to say hello to the 55,000 people joining us right now for this coverage of the verdicts in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. There's been a lot of talk about just how good Sean Combs' defense team was, that this was the all-star dream team cast for a defense team. What did they do that is different than the typical defense attorney that you see in a courtroom?
Hold on. Wait. This the anthem. Hold on. Wait.
Go with nowhere. We ain't going nowhere.
Put the lyrics in the chat if you know it.
Can't be stopped. This bad.
Hold on. I'm the definition of half man, half. Hold on. This is it.
Going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped.
Freak offs is not gonna stop.
For life.
Yo, whoever the biggest 2C dealer is, I might have to cop some.
I don't even know why I'm
to
there. I don't even
stack
give
up
a
for
damn
this.
about Diddy.
The
For
devil
real.
want me to stack up
I
for
just
y'all.
felt like
The
they came with their
biggest
case.
2C
Their case
dealer,
was too
holla at me.
crazy.
I'm gonna connect you with Christian Combs. The biggest party finna happen. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's going down by Christmas. The biggest party. Diddy's coming home by Christmas. The biggest party. Okay? The biggest party. Okay? If you got the Tussie, the Valiums, if you got that extra nice Tesla pills, come on, man. If you got to get that ketamine too. Who got the ketamine? Who got the ketamine? Astroglide stock just went up. Nigga, I'm on the stock market. I said, Astroglide stock went up. Holy. That must be the bulk order. The bulk order. Okay. By the way, the Feds got to return to Astroglide. You got to return it. You got to return to Astroglide. You got to return to Astroglide. My man had 5,000 bottles for a reason. He's still going to use it. Okay?
Quote, there is a real risk that he will flagrantly disregard orders from the court, and he cited the drugs found in Sean Combs' hotel room before he was arrested last time, September. We just talked about that.
Right, and the judge is saying now that he needs time to think about it.
Oh, so
He needs...
Okay, the updates are, hold on. Let me just get you the updates. CNN up in court, they still ain't leaving. Okay, so count one, racketeering, which carries a maximum life imprisonment, not guilty. A minimum of 15 years for sex trafficking of Cassie. Man, Cassie knows, take your 20 million and bring your stupid ass off, man. You know you was having the time of your life with Diddy, man. Ain't no more, well, you could get a private jet now. You got $30 million. Well, why are you so mad? Yes, you were doing some prostitution shit for him. You were a prostitute and the sex worker was prostitutes. That's basically what this charge means. The court, and I know I'm talking colloquially, but I'm explaining it to you in layman's terms. According to what the court and the jury has decided, all the conducts of the freak-off was not sex trafficking. It was basically a nigga paying 2 people to fuck. You're paid 2 people to fuck. So imagine getting a bitch off Craigslist. I don't know if that shit exists. You paid 2 hoes to fuck. One's a dude, one's a girl. That's it. That's why this nigga got pretty much charged, locked up. That's it. All that, look at the video. She got beat up, pee in the mouth, nut in the nipple. Diddy still gay. In my opinion, gay. The rub the nut in the nipple shit is crazy. But this idea that Diddy sex trafficked these hoes, no. To me, I read count 4 sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Basically, the court has unanimously said, you're a fucking whore. Okay? You're a whore. And now, I gotta say this. Jane Doe, you can't file no defamation lawsuits against people that call you a sex worker, because according to what actually Diddy got found guilty of, he got found guilty of prostitution for sex workers, including you. Count 5. He's found
Coca-Cola
guilty.
in the morning.
Sex worker. Okay?
That motherfucker
Yo,
different.
yo, I know Diddy's.
So
50
Diddy not guilty. Where the party at? Going to the
And yes,
going to
Cassie
the
was a
Diddy.
sex worker too, man.
Diddy
You too.
welcome home
Racketeer, my
party,
boy
baby.
beat it. You beat it. All right?
Let's see what other
Yo,
news
for the rest of the
networks
industry, y'all can go back to
talking
y'all regular schedule free calls. There was some people nervous. Like, they were starting to switch up. Like, I know a few.
Oh, I know Megan Kelly.
Minute.
I mean, it is a felony. It's not the same as like hiring a prostitute and like getting caught in a hotel room with her, right? Transportation to engage in prostitution.
Megan Kelly did not like this.
Good morning, everyone. There is breaking news out of a federal courthouse in New York. I'm Megyn Kelly. Welcome to the Megyn Kelly Show, where Sean Combs has been found not guilty on the majority of counts against him and has been found guilty of only the 2 least serious crimes that he was charged with. There is
now just yesterday she said he was going to jail for life.
Prosecution. The 2 counts on which he's been found guilty are transportation to engage in prostitution. There were 2 counts of it with respect to Cassie Ventura and Jane, who testified under a pseudonym, and he has been found not guilty on racketeering, not guilty on sex trafficking with respect to Cassie Ventura and with respect to Jane. Both of those sex trafficking counts required 15 years minimum in prison. The RICO count that he's been found not guilty of was a sentence of 20 to life, though it didn't have a mandatory minimum. So the sex trafficking ones were extremely serious, 15 years minimum. And he's escaped liability on both of those.
I think they just went too serious on the charges.
Guilt on both of those. It was going to be a miracle. It was going to be an obvious jury nullification if he escaped a guilty verdict on transportation to engage in prostitution. The evidence was overwhelming that he did that. There were receipts. There was testimony by the escorts. It was very clear that Sean Combs did pay these male escorts to cross state lines and to come into his various hotel rooms and have sex with his girlfriends, Cassie and Jane. And they had him dead to rights on that. I mean, he really should have pled guilty on those. And I've been saying all along, if they found him not guilty on those, it would prove that this has been a total nullification of the jury. He was a famous man and they didn't want to find him guilty because it's very clear he did those 2. It is stunning that he managed to escape a guilty verdict on RICO, less stunning on RICO, but on sex trafficking, where the evidence was just overwhelming on the fact that he did threaten at least Cassie and Jane over and over again. He beat both women when they would not comply with his demands. But clearly what we're seeing here is the jury bought and believed the defense argument that these women had agency, that these women were not forced to do anything. The defense got up there and argued that they were swingers, that they were engaging in a swinger lifestyle, notwithstanding the beatings it took to get them to comply in certain instances. The jury clearly bought that. There was testimony that would be helpful for the defense. I don't mean to scoff at the conclusion entirely. There was testimony to support a not guilty, including text messages from Cassie Ventura saying, "I can't wait to freak off. I love our freak offs when we both want them." And testimony that Cassie stayed in part because she loved the lifestyle. She loved the trappings of life with Diddy. And Jane is still having her apartment paid for by Sean Combs to this moment. And there definitely could be a takeaway that Jane was in it because she wanted the apartment and she wanted to be connected with somebody famous and rich, and not because she had any fear for her life or otherwise, or retribution if she submitted. New York Times reporting here, color from inside the courtroom. Sean Combs is smiling as he shook one of his lawyer's hands and turned again to look at his family. He put his hands together in prayer and mouthed, thank you," at the jury. That's the right thing to say, Sean Combs. He pumped his right fist. Yep, this is exactly the right attitude for Sean Combs. who just got away with serious felonies, in my view. He's guilty as sin, in my view, and this jury just gave him a total pass. They bought Mark Agnifalo's argument, it appears, the same one that did not work for Agnifalo in the Nexium sex cult case out of Albany, New York, in which he went in there and said, these women, we don't do sex cults. Women are powerful. Women make their own decisions. These women up in this other case chose to have themselves branded. No one made them with this guy's initials. And he tried the same thing here, but with a much, much better result. This is a win for Sean Diddy Combs. There's no question about it. The minimum charge or the charges likely on this particular count are far less serious. It calls for up to 10 years in prison. There's no way he's going to get 10 years in prison on these two, unless you have a judge who's very, very angry for some reason. We looked at the federal sentencing guidelines, which are just recommendations. The judge doesn't have to follow them. He can go any place between 0 and 10. But we deduced that he has an offense level of about 26 points, which calls for a sentence of 5.25 years to 6.5 years in prison. The base offense level for this crime we deduced to be about 14. This is all on a sliding scale, plus you add another 4 levels because the offense may have involved coercion. Anyway, and then there's another 4 for causing another person to engage in a sexual act. So if they believe that, if this judge says that's what happened, he could be facing 5 or 6 years in prison. On each count, they would be likely to run consecutive, although it's possible the judge could say they run one after the other, or together congruent. So we'll see. Likely to run at the same time is my view. There's no way he's getting more than 5 years.
They're gonna get that by time served, I wanna say. They would just...
Why not call more witnesses? He's facing all these civil lawsuits for people saying that he did a lot of the things that Cassie Ventura and Jane accused him of. Why were there not more victims, excuse me,
because you couldn't believe him.
Potentially bolstered the prosecution's case more?
Well, listen, you're going to find more about Gina. I think that is one of the instances where people have a lot of questions. She, for people who know her story, she had a lot to say. We didn't hear from her. We didn't hear from Christina Quorum. We didn't hear from security guards, as I've talked about. He's got a lot of civil lawsuits where some of the
reason to ban Boogie in. My boy Academics talking about.
Watch that little freaky ass nigga Alex Fine. He probably be like,
let's see what AK, this what Academics got going on.
yeah, nigga. That's your wife, man. Go enjoy it. At least have $30 million richer. At least have $30 million richer. That's about it. Let me see what's up. Okay. So this is the ruling, and now we know freak offs are not illegal. This was pretty much his depraved sexual behavior illegal. And I ain't gonna lie, and for someone who said act, what does this mean? No, someone who says act, why are you even happy? I'm saying, first of all, we ain't gonna criminalize sex, just regular sex, period. But this idea that if you're fucking your bitch, you hit the blunt and you pass it to her, and 5 years later she said, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. And then they said, did he ever give you a drug? Well, he gave me a hit off the blunt. All right, he sex trafficked you because you was high, you couldn't make no decisions, you stayed around for 10 years, you didn't leave, you was begging for more, but you still couldn't leave because you were mentally like crippled. Okay, and we're gonna give him a drug charge just because he told you to hit the blunt once. That's what this judge basically said. Possession with the intent to distribute means Diddy could have given one pill.
One pill.
One time.
It would have been over. Yeah, man. We ended up having a good time last night. Shouts out to the shots out. Got my plants growing right here, man. This one growing pretty damn well. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. A little porch. Need to turn that damn light off. Hey Google. Good morning.
Hi, it's 9:46 a.m. Right now in Anniston, it's 79 degrees and partly cloudy. Today, it'll be partly cloudy with a forecasted high of 86 and a low of 65. Here's a joke to start your morning. How does Darth Vader like his chocolate? On the dark side, no tasks for today. Have a nice day. Here's the latest news. From Reuters TV, U.S. at 6:31 a.m. today.
Today, Trump's budget bill heads back to the House, where some Republicans have already voiced their opposition to Senate.
Get back to the Diddy news, man. Get y'all some of what AK.
Holmes does not have access to his plane. His entire family's here. Niplo says any 3 of them or any 5 of them can sign on to a bond. He wants Diddy released today. The judge says it's your proposal that he leave the courtroom and walk outside. Yes, nigga. What the hell? Yes. Duh. What the hell? Yeah. Fuck yes. Assistant U.S. Marine Comey got her ass spanked, belt to ass. Yo, your father, James Comey, former FBI director, I know he's like, God damn it, you're the fuck up a family, Comey. Actually, let me not say that. She's cheating about this thing. I love you, Maureen. Maureen, I love you. I love you. This is, you know, small step for mankind, another, whatever that shit is. We love you, okay? She says the government opposes the motion that Diddy gets out today. She said the trial showed evidence of extensive abuse and prolific drug use. Maureen, you know. That the defense did not contest. Which, by the way, all of the abuse is in the sex trafficking in RICO. He's proven not guilty. The prostitution charge does not have any violent or abusive elements to it. It's willing participations of you paying one person, fuck the other. That's it. Okay? Comey argued that Combs does not respect the law and would likely commit new crimes if released. Comey also confirmed that the government intends to seek sentence of incarceration. A sentence of incarceration that Combs still faces up to 20 years for the 2 counts he's been convicted of. She's gassing it now. He ain't facing 20. He got convicted of 2, which is 10. But no one's gonna run prosecution charges back to back consecutively to make 2 10s 20. No, you run it concurrently, right? You run it concurrently. And not only that, the nigga does not have a criminal history. There is standard sentencing guidelines that they cannot give him. He will be able to appeal it, and the circuit courts would definitely reduce his
Did it basically beat the feds?
Too many cases and issues of sentencing is already on file on case law, so nice not happening. The judge says he's gonna make a decision on Combs' possible release after the lawyers submit letters, so he's not gonna do it today. Judge Submaranian asked the defense attorneys and prosecutors to submit letters about their position and the possibility of releasing Sean Combs. The letters are due at 1. Ooh! The judge is going to make the decision today. Okay, great. Wow.
So, later
The attorney
on.
says Mark Niflo told the judge that Sean Diddy Combs was looking for potentially spending the rest of his life in prison, but he was acquitted of those charges. He's been given his life back by this judge.